Hey guys, it's your boy Az and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to fit your experience into your CV and how to portray it right to a recruiter. Thank you for all the support that you've been showing us. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. We made a comeback with the last video and you guys have blew out. There's loads of views on it and you guys smashed the like button, so carry on doing that and let's get straight to it. So I'm going to be breaking down this video into 3 different sections. So the first section is if you have experience that is directly related to the role. The second section will be focusing on if you have experience that is sort of roughly in the role, so like maybe in like a corporate setting if you're trying to go for like a corporate job. And the third section, which is probably the most popular and a lot of people have out there, is if you have experience in a role that is probably not related to that field or in that area of the field. So for example, let's say if you worked in retail and you're trying to get like a graduate job and work in a corporate environment, yeah, that would be mainly just the third example. So let's get straight into the first one. For the first scenario, you're basically bang on buck. If you're a graduate and you already got some internship experience, whether it be a summer internship or a year placement, you're really on your way to a great interview, or the recruiter's going to look at your CV and be like, this person is someone that we really need. So one of the main things that you can do is, let's say for example, if you're a DevOps engineer and you've worked in an internship as a DevOps engineer for a company, certain metrics that you've done, so certain work that you've done, you need to translate that into actual tangible metrics. So for example, you might be saying, oh, I assisted in helping production deployments or something like that. You need to write in a way that is more tangible in your CV. So you need to say, oh, assisted in production deployments for a critical app, or talk about how many users use your app. So let's say provided critical deployments for 1 million plus users, depending on obviously how many people use your apps. Now, if you use numbers and stuff, things like that, it pops out. Numbers pops out way more than words to a recruiter or whoever's looking over your CV. The last point I'll talk about on this section is whether you've done something that was critical to the project. So for example, let's say if you worked on the security aspect of a project and you really made a good impact into it, you don't want to just say, oh, increase the security posture of a project. To a recruiter, they'll look at that and think that's quite boring. You're not really detailing out what you actually did. And remember, you don't have to detail out in paragraphs, probably like 1 sentence or maybe 2. You can just say, improve the security posture of the project by implementing XYZ technology. And again, add figures if you can. So you can talk about metrics such as help like 1 million plus users, or improved, let's say, alarming or monitoring of the project. These tangible examples is something that a recruiter will look out for. And hopefully these kind of things will match their job description and will help you get an interview. So the second section we're going to be diving into is, what if I have some experience in a role but it's not directly related to the job? So for example, let's say if you worked in consultancy for a BA role, but you want to move into a DevOps role, a DevOps graduate role. So what would you put on your CV? So for this, I would still say you're still in a good spot. One way of showing your experience is talking about your transferable skills. And in any, let's say, consultancy role or any corporate role, you're going to be talking to maybe senior stakeholders or senior members of the team. You're going to be talking about how you communicate to them. And again, when you put it on your CV, don't be very basic in the sense that displayed information to senior stakeholders, full stop, finish. Because the recruiter again is going to look at it and be like, okay, cool, what's the point? You clearly know how to speak, everyone knows how to speak to other people. What was the outcome? What metric is there to analyze? So again, you can just rewrite that and say, spoke to senior members of the stakeholder team that allowed, let's say, XYZ of the project to progress. Now, saying these things will, obviously, you can add metrics and stuff like that, and that really will make you pop out to the recruiter. And a recruiter will look at that and say, okay, cool, maybe he doesn't have a specific experience in the field, but he's clearly worked in a corporate setting. He clearly knows how to have communication and teamwork skills, so he might be a good asset to the project. So another part of the second section I want to talk about is where you've worked in a team environment. So a team environment in any role is very important. If you're going for, especially in the software engineering field, you're going to be working with multiple members of the team, whether it be your immediate team or whether it be the dev team, the testing team, the BA team. There's loads of other people that you're going to be talking to. And here again, you don't want to write on your CV, worked with senior members of team, worked coherently with senior members of teams, stuff like that. You really want to add again some form of metrics. So you want to say worked with let's say like large amounts of teams. So let's say 5 members of the immediate team, or worked across a whole project, communicating, liaising to improve project efficiency. So certain things like that, it just adds more flavor to your point. And remember, you gotta understand is that when a recruiter looks at your CV, and I think there's been a study recently showing is that a recruiter will only look at your CV for a couple of seconds. They'll take a quick glance, they'll have a read through the job and your experience, see if it matches the job description, and if it doesn't, they're just gonna throw it in the reject pile. The last section is talking about people that don't have either a direct experience to the role, or they don't have experience around that field. So let's say not in the corporate field. And this is maybe something like if you've worked in retail, or if you work maybe in like security or something like that. To be honest, at the end of the day, it's still experience. And I tell people, just because you have retail experience doesn't mean that you should not be putting that on your CV. Now, the reason why I say that is because, again, you have something which is called soft skills. Soft skills is something that you use across every job, whether it be communication. So you're going to be communicating to other members of your team, communicating to senior members of the team. Customer service skills, that's very important in the sense that, again, it's like a level of communication. You're speaking to another person, you're detailing and how to help them proceed with their transactions. So that is something that you can also put on your CV, and like I said, try tailor it. So another point I want to add to this section, and this is one of the most important part, and this is for the people that solely just have retail experiences, is that you want to add more oomph to your detailed points on the CV. So it's been a recurring thing over this video, I understand, but it's a really big important aspect of it. So for example, a lot of people, what they write on their CV when they have retail experience, they'll just write be maintaining the shop floor, make sure stock levels are up, make sure that like let's say the clothes are hanging right, stuff like that. Now, you can't just leave that on the CV. You can add more depth to it by just saying, oh, increased company's profits, or increased store revenue by implementing more advertisement or suitable for the customer's needs. And this is a way of you detailing what you've done to the recruiter, and it gives the recruiter more insight of what you've done at that job. And again, what I tell a lot of people is that they're quite afraid of applying for a job, let's say for a graduate role, and they've only got retail experience. Cool. Number one, what I'll say about this is that it's not the end of the world. If you still have retail experience and you don't have any corporate setting experience, it's not the end of the world. Still apply for that job. And number two is that, yeah, it will help if you actually had more experience in the role. So you can talk about certain experience that you've had in the role, and it'll be more relatable to the interviewer. However, at the end of the day, it's still a graduate role, or if it's still an entry level role, they're not expecting you to know everything, even if you don't have no experience. So let's say for tech, like you saw for my instance, I didn't have that much experience in tech. I was still able to get into the role as long as you show interest. So if you just done retail experience, you need to show interest on the side. So this can be like from the form of side projects. So maybe after university or after you finish your part-time job, you need to do certain projects that show that you have some interest in that field, whether it be for tech, finance, anything like that. You need to also show that you want to take the initiative, because a lot of companies, what I realize is when you go to interviews, if you can show that you take an initiative, they'll snap you up like that. Now, the reason why they love that is because it directly translates into the work, into real work. So let's say if you're working let's say a software engineering role, and you come across a problem that you've never faced before. This is quite popular, this usually happens all the time. You can then, if you are a person that takes initiative, you will start working on it and see where it gets you before you go to someone in the higher ups or your senior teams for help. So that's why they really love people that takes initiative. And if you're someone that's only had retail experience, you really need to do other side projects. So you can use like Code Academy, Udemy courses, just try and learn something on the side, whether it be for like tech or finance or whatever field that you want to break in. So yeah guys, that's what I have for today. Just a final note I want to say for all the guys that have been sharing the love and support, thank you very much. We're kind of close to 100 subscribers, so hopefully we hit that landmark. And the final advice I want to give you guys is just hit the apply button for that graduate role. You might see that graduate role, you might think I might not have the experience for that, but if you can tailor your CV correctly, hopefully implement some of the tips I've given you guys, you can use that for your advantage. Hit the apply button and who knows, you might get the role. At the end of the day, you've got nothing to lose. I'll see you guys in the next video.